Hello, welcome to another edition of the Night Sky Guy this week. I'm the Night Sky Guy, Andrew Fazekas, your host. Every week I'm here to share what you can see in the night sky wherever you are around the world. I've got the comments open. I'm watching where you're joining me from today. I love to see all the different people everywhere. I've got folks in different parts of the United States, like Boston and Washington. I've got folks in Africa as well, in Europe, places in Central and South America. It's just wonderful to see all of you here joining me. Every week I'm here on Mondays. I'm usually on between 1 and 2 o'clock, depending on how my schedule works. But generally that's when I like to come online and share with you some of the things that come across my desk, some of the more interesting or easy to find things in the night sky. You know, astronomy is more popular now than it has ever been. I think partly because a lot of us have been staying home so much lately, a lot of restricted movements, obviously because of the health requirements around the world that have been imposed on us. And so, you know, we've been limited on some of the things that we normally do. And I think a lot of us are thinking out of the box in terms of hobbies and things, to pass the time with. That's fun. And maybe educational. I like to call it edutainment. That's what astronomy is. And astronomy really fits the bill really well because you can do it on a shoestring budget, really. I mean, it could be totally free using just your eyes, or maybe you want to buy binoculars or a small telescope. You might be doing it something maybe on a balcony, on a high rise in an urban setting in the center of a city, on a rooftop, or maybe in the suburbs. You have a cottage out in the countryside, or maybe on a park somewhere in the part of the city that you like to go and lie down on a grassy field and look up and enjoy the sky. Well, there's something for everyone, and you don't need an astronomy degree. You don't need really very much. Just a little bit of guidance. That's what I'm here for, and of course, some clear skies, right? So you can enjoy what the night sky has to offer. So without further ado, let me dive right in. I'm going to open up the planetarium program for us this week, and I'm just seeing everybody while I'm doing that here. Hello to everyone, like Robert in Boston. I see where we have Sunya from Turkey. We have Wade from Elk, Washington. Elza is here. in South Africa. Wow. And then we've got Cirillo from northern Mexico, Pauline from the UK, Antonis from Greece, Gopa from New Jersey. Oh my gosh, we've got Elaine from Victoria. Hello, nice fellow Canadian joining in. That's wonderful. I have Gabriel from Nigeria. Wonderful. So happy that you can join us. I've got folks from, I'm simultaneously broadcasting on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, so you're more than welcome. Jump on in and say hi. I love seeing who's watching this show from what parts of the world, and really just showcases that we all share the same night sky. So here we have the night sky. This is February 14th, 2022. I'm broadcasting this from. Happy Valentine's Day for all of you. Big heart to all of you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me. And, the night sky it's so romantic. And if you're looking to do something romantic today, and if you have clear skies, is maybe stepping outside and enjoying the view of the stars. And what will you see in the skies today and this week? Well, of course, right after sunset is Jupiter is just still barely visible. It's almost completely lost now in the glare of the sunset. There it is, Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system, on its lonesome, no other planet nearby. And it's a pretty much of a really trick to be able to find that planet. But if we look up into the sky, you'll notice on Monday, February 14th, is a near full moon. It's a waxing gibbous moon. It's almost full, not quite. The full moon will happen on Wednesday. I'll talk more about that in a second. But it's a near full moon on Monday night. And you can see if I just make it 1 hour later after sunset, it's dark enough. You'll see the stars and the constellations they make. And you'll notice that the moon is in this illustration, you can see it's in the constellation Cancer the Crab, the zodiacal constellation, Cancer. And one of the things that Cancer the Crab is known for is a beautiful star cluster, and it's called the Beehive star cluster. And those of you that have been around with me for long enough know that I come back to this every once in a while. I want to point this out. It is one of the most beautiful things you can see with binoculars and telescopes. So if you have a little telescope lying around, maybe you got something for Christmas during the holidays or something, or a birthday, and you're looking for things other than the moon to see, star clusters are fantastic deep sky objects that are beyond the solar system. And so this is on Monday night, tonight, as I'm broadcasting, this is a great pairing. Now, the near full moon, this waxing gibbous moon, is extremely brilliant, and it will drown out the total beauty of this cluster. But I want you to know where it is in the sky, and the moon is a great guidepost for showing us that. Tonight, and it's only for tonight that you'll see this. By tomorrow, the moon will have jumped off. Here, this is Monday. If I switch this to Tuesday night, look where the moon is. Bam, you see that? It's near the mouth, the nose of Leo, the lion constellation, which is just next door to it, climbing up in the east. About an hour after your local sunset is when this is all happening. But on Monday night, the moon is right next to this little circle. You see that little circle right there? That's the Beehive cluster. Just a gorgeous collection of stars. It really is a cluster of stars that were born together at the same time over 100 million years ago, and they're still huddled together. And it's just what we consider an open cluster. It was known since ancient times. The Greek poet Aratus mentioned this object, and he called it the Little Mist. And this was way back in the year 2060 BC. Imagine that. In 2060 BC is when this Greek skywatcher first noticed it, and it looked like a fuzzy little mist. So if you have dark enough skies, if you're away from light pollution, this cluster can be something that you can see if you have clear skies. And I see here friend Isabel from Paris says it's unfortunately raining. It may be raining now, but if you wait maybe a day or two or three, or maybe towards the weekend, the star cluster will still be there in the sky. The moon will have moved away, which is actually better for viewing it. And so, Isabel, maybe perhaps in Paris where you are, you can break out those binoculars, maybe find this star cluster, knowing where to look. And we're looking towards the eastern sky soon after sunset, once the sky darkens. And the darker the sky, the better when it comes to things like star clusters. You need darker sky conditions. Of course, if you have light pollution, that's something you have to factor in. And by the way, a little tip for those of you that are living in light polluted skies, something that you can do and makes a big difference is wait for this object to actually move higher. So if we kind of move the moon till Tuesday, there we go, you'll see there still, right there, is the Beehive cluster, still the same place. But if you wait for it to move higher in the sky, so later at night, so this is like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, do you see that the cluster is now much higher in your sky? So when you're looking higher up, and this is something that's true for all objects, whatever you're looking for in the night sky, if you look towards the horizon for something, all right, be it a star cluster, a planet, or something, you'll notice that the views through maybe binoculars and telescopes are more blurry. One thing that you'll notice even with the naked eye, when the stars are twinkling, right, towards the horizon. So why that happens, it's not the star itself that's twinkling. It's actually the beam of light from the star that has to poke through, punch through, and travel through the atmosphere of the Earth, that thick atmosphere that's above us, right? Now, that atmosphere, when we're looking through towards the horizon, it's a thicker column of air. There's more of our atmosphere that beam of light from that star has to travel through to reach your eye. As opposed to, if that star is above us, there's not as much of the atmosphere that it has to travel through. Right? I hope you can follow that, because when you're looking up, it's about, let's say, relatively speaking, this thick. But when you're looking towards the horizon, there's a lot more of the atmosphere that it has to travel through. And because of that, it actually scatters the atmosphere of the Earth. The molecules in the atmosphere of our Earth scatters the beam of light from that star, making it appear to our eye as if it's twinkling. That's why it appears to twinkle. And that you have to remember, the light from stars takes years to reach us here, and it is amazing. And Suna mentions it sounds time travel through space, and that's so amazing. It is Suna, and it takes so long, years. We measure the time that it takes light to get to our eye from a star. So the star appears to twinkle near the horizon because it's going through. It's a very, very razor thin, little tiny thin, needle thin beam of light, and it just scatters, and that makes it twinkle to our eye, makes it shimmer, right? And when it's high up, you'll notice the stars straight above your head, they don't appear to twinkle. Now, another little trick also is to tell the difference between planets and stars. When they're close to the horizon, planets will not appear to twinkle. Generally speaking, that's because the beam of light from a planet, our neighboring planet like Jupiter or Venus or Saturn or Mars, is because these planets are closer to us than the star. They're not light years away. It takes light only minutes to reach our eye, just minutes. And so because of that, and the star, I should say the planet, the disk of the planet is wide enough. So when the beam of light from that planet comes to us, it's a thicker beam of light, and it could punch through the atmosphere as much. And so the tendency is that planets do not appear to twinkle in the sky as much as stars do. And so that's kind of an indication, are you looking at a star or a planet? That's kind of a clue in for you in terms of the scattering of the light, the twinkling of light beam. So there you go. That's just a little tidbit I wanted to throw in while we're exploring the sky. Back here, you'll see Very interesting. As I said, let me just go back to Monday and let me just give you a close-up view of this beautiful star cluster, just to go back. So the moon is going to be there right next to it. And the star cluster is gorgeous. This is a close-up view of the star cluster. There you go. Isn't that just beautiful? Filled with mostly bluish white stars and a scattering of yellowish stars as well. And we're talking about an object that's 610 light years away. 610 light years away. Just beautiful. So check that out. The moon tonight is right next to it. Now, of course, on Tuesday and Wednesday, what I want you to notice is the moon. We're going to follow the moon on its journey right to the mouth of Leo the lion. So this is Tuesday, February 15th. Look at that, right at the head of the lion. Now, you could find the head of the lion very easily by just following this group of stars right here. You can see there's this backwards question mark that marks this scatter. You can see this grouping of stars that looks like a backwards question. We call it also the sickle, Leo's sickle, or backward. I like to call it the backwards question mark because it really does look like that. And the bottom, the punctuation mark, is marked by the brightest star in Leo, which is Regulus. Now, Regulus is this beautiful blue-white star that's about 78 light years away. So that's right. It takes like 78 years, as you'd probably think, to get to us. So we're looking back in time, basically a human lifetime that you're looking back in terms of when you're watching the star. That's how long the light has taken. So we're seeing what Regulus appeared like 78 years ago. It's incredible. This is where the wow and awe, the awe and wonder of night sky watching comes into play. And you'll notice the moon right there, very close. And if we go to Wednesday night, so this is Wednesday, and Wednesday night the moon is going to be full. It'll reach officially the full phase. It's known in North America, mostly in Europe, as the snow moon. As you can gather, it's because there's a lot of snow traditionally on the ground this time of the year in February in the Northern Hemisphere. And so the moon is known as the full moon of February is known as the snow moon. So that's happening Wednesday night. And it's just going to be gorgeous, that silvery orb rising soon after your sunset. So look for the moon. I'm going to set it up for sunset. Look at this on Wednesday. And you'll see right there, peeking right there on the left. You see that? Right there's the moon. And I'll go 1 hour after sunset. Let me just go 1 hour. There you go. See, it's climbing up on your eastern horizon. So 1 hour after sunset is a great time. You'll see it. Now, if you can catch the moon rising above your eastern horizon, you got to find a spot where you have a clear view right down to the horizon to see it rise. And that orb is just spectacular. It'll appear a little bit larger than it actually is. It's an optical illusion. It's a lunar illusion. It's very well known. But it really doesn't change size. It just has that appearance when it's close to our horizon, and it makes for a spectacular photographic opportunity. So don't miss that. The snow moon rising in the east on Wednesday, and it's going to be very close now to Regulus, that beautiful star that actually marks the heart of Leo, the lion constellation. And by the way, another little tidbit is back in the day, hundreds of years ago, there was actually a name change to the star. It used to be not Regulus. It was called Cor Leonis. Cor Leonis, the heart of the lion. Very appropriate. Beautiful blue-white star, and it's going to be right next to the full moon. Just a beautiful pairing. Don't miss out. It's this Wednesday, February 16th. And the show starts very soon after sunset, and the pair will be rising in the east, dominating the overhead southeast southern skies. You can see right here I'm going to zoom out. You can see there's the moon and Regulus together, and by midnight it'll be very close to its maximum height. And in the northern hemisphere, this time of the year, winter, dead of winter, February actually is when the moon is at its highest in our skies. It rises to its highest around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And it's just gorgeous the shadows that it casts, especially in places like where I am, where there's lots of snow. The snow turns this silvery, eerie blue, metallic blue color almost. Just fantastic. Again, great opportunity to see what's going on. So highly, highly recommend that. Check that out. So the moon is going to be traveling in the sky, and it'll be traveling a little bit more. You'll see by Thursday, it's at the foot of Leo the Lion. By Friday, it enters Virgo, the Maiden constellation. And by Saturday night, or late Saturday, very late and early Sunday morning, the moon will be beside the bright star Spica. Now, this constellation is going to be rising again. This is around midnight. So very late night, okay? Late night Sunday into early morning Monday is what we're talking about. And this constellation, Virgo the Maiden, is really placed in the early evening by April, May, and June. So in a few months, this constellation, where now you have to wait for around midnight to see it, in just a couple of months, you'll be able to see it just after supper time, after your dinner, like in the early evening. So there's going to be a big switch over in the sky from one season to the next as we do switch the calendar, and around March 22nd is when that happens. And so you'll see these constellations kind of moving earlier and earlier into the sky. So, but this Sunday night, the moon it's going to be a waning gibbous moon, past the full moon that happens on Wednesday, and you'll see it next to Spica. And Spica is just another brilliant star, 250 light years away. Wow! Takes 2.5 centuries for the light to reach your eye. It's really incredible. So check that out. That is just beautiful views. That is what's up for this week. Now, before I leave you, one more cool thing to see. And this is something that is going to be visible from dark countrysides, so you have to get out of the city to see this, and it is the zodiacal lights. The zodiacal lights for the next 2 weeks, starting this upcoming Saturday, for the next 2 weeks, about an hour after local sunset, an hour, maybe up to 2 hours after your local sunset, if you look towards the west, you'll see a pyramid shape of lights. And I'm going to show you what you're looking for. Here's a photograph I found on Wikipedia. You can go to Wikipedia, you do a search for zodiacal light, and you can find all the information about it there for you, but some great images of what I'm talking about. Here you can see it's kind of like a cone or a pyramid shape of light. You can see this is taken towards the western horizon. So you're looking for a place where it's very dark. No cities, no towns, out in the countryside. If you can find a spot and a clear view towards the west, you'll see this eerie glow. And what is this glow? Well, it may look like it's something. There's the glow right there from another vantage point. I'll give you another one over here. There is this glow right here. Let's see another one. This is a really good one too. Now, what this glow is actually dust particles between the planets in the solar system. And these dust particles are left over from the building of our planets 4.5 billion years ago. So there's clouds of these particles hanging around between planets. And some of these particles, actually now we know in a recent study, come from Mars, have been blown away from the deserts of Mars into space and pulled out by solar wind. Whenever there's a lot of solar activity on the sun, and we get northern lights and we get all those coronal mass ejections, the solar wind actually, if it's powerful enough, can knock out and pull out some of those dust particles from Mars. And it turns out a lot of this stuff that makes the zodiacal light, turns out it is originating from Mars dust. So what you're seeing for the next 2 weeks, starting this Saturday, it's called the zodiacal light. It's very faint. You have to wait an hour to 2 hours after your sunset, looking towards your west. And this is what you'll see, is a beautiful conical shape of light that's formed from dust that exists between our planets, and the sunlight is reflecting off of those dust particles. And for the next 2 weeks is the perfect time in the evening skies to see this after sunset. So check out the zodiacal lights in the next 2 weeks from a dark side if you can. So lots of things this week again. Thank you so much for tuning in to my show. If you like my videos that I put out every Monday, show your support by smashing that like button and, of course, subscribing as well, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or on Twitch. It means a lot for me to see you guys signing up. And of course, you'll be notified every time I put up a new video, a new live stream like this that I do every week. So with that, thank you so much for your support. I wish all of you clear skies. See you next week. Bye-bye.